Hello, this is Doug McPherson from Size 10.5 Boots, and in today's webinar we're going to be looking at how solicitors, accountants, barristers, patent and trademark attorneys can package up your expertise as brand new engaging content. The first point that I'd like to underline is we see far too many people scurrying off to their keyboards as soon as they're asked to produce some content. This is definitely not the right way to start. Please don't ever start any writing before you've considered three key elements. The first is, what are your objectives? Do you want the piece to promote you to a wider audience? Do you want to use it to get a coffee meeting to discuss the topic in more detail? Do you want to use it as an audition piece to send to event organisers so you get invited to speak at conferences or join panel discussions? Do you want it to initiate a more general follow-up, i.e. somebody gets in touch to get a PDF special report which explains the topic that you've introduced in more detail? Most importantly, and this is why it's highlighted in red, I think the one objective you've always got to work towards is demonstrating your particular unique specialisms and your take on the industry and the sectors that you work with most regularly. The second element to consider is how you're going to deliver your message. So you've got to get your tone of voice right. You've got to use the right language. You've got to use the points of reference. You've got to speak directly to the audience that you want to talk to, whether that's a business, commercial audience, or whether that's private individuals. And I would suggest that there's a very different tone of voice required for perhaps a city litigator than probably for a family solicitor within a more regional practice. So just think about the kind of language you use in front of clients. The second part of the delivery, make sure that you're clear and easy to understand. Stay away from jargon, stay away from technical terms, even stay away from case law and legislation. Just speak in absolutely plain English. The third part is make sure you include a call to action, and this is crucial to the success of your content. Call to action is basically just marketing speak for tell people exactly what you want them to do next and make it as easy as possible. For example, if you are trying to get a coffee meeting to discuss the topic in more detail, tell them that's what you want and then give them the email address and the phone number so that they can get in touch to set up that meeting. Just make the next stage as easy as you possibly can. Another question that we're asked a lot is, where do I get my inspiration from? Well, three ideas here. One is the news. Have a look at what's on the news, what's on the TV, what's on the radio, and try and piggyback on it. If it is high profile, then the chances are people are going to be searching for more information on that topic. It's not only going to be an easier way of getting ideas, it's also an easier way of getting found, getting introduced to new people. The second, and this is often the one that's criminally overlooked, is frequently asked questions. Have a think about the type of questions that maybe a few clients have asked you over the last couple of weeks or the last couple of months, and just write them down. If you phrase the heading for those pieces as a question, the search engines love them, then just answer that question in maybe 2 paragraphs. You've got a brand new piece of content that's practical and valuable to your readers. The third one is case studies, and it might be that you take a couple of different examples and merge them together. Definitely anonymize everything that you put out as a case study. But again, this shows how you work and how you benefit clients in a much more practical context. What we always say with case studies, keep them short. And the model that we use is CAR, which is context, action, result. What was the context? What were the circumstances the client came to you in? What was the action you took? What was the result your action generated for the client? So once you've got your idea and you know roughly how you want to format it, where do you get published? Well, as an oversimplification, I would split that into 2, internally and externally. When we're talking about internally, we're talking about your firm's channels. We're talking about all the different things that are open to you as a professional within an organisation. So it might be your blog, and most firms now have blog spots actually on their sites, so make sure you're contributing to that. Some people also have their own personal blog on one of the many open source blogging platforms that are now available. That's a great way to reach a new audience because, again, if you tag it up properly, more people are going to find you because a lot of people use those kind of blogging platforms. The second box, LinkedIn. Of course, you're going to put the headings and the links to new pieces of content that your firm or chambers are producing as updates on LinkedIn, but that's all really dependent on how your contacts are actually using LinkedIn. Are they scrolling down their timelines at that time? Are they going to see your updates? A much more proactive way of using LinkedIn is to use the write an article function. So really easy template, just cut and paste your heading, cut and paste the text, but then it sends an alert to all of your contacts saying John or Jane Smith has just published an article. They're more likely to go and visit that article. It's more likely to generate more views, more traffic, more inquiries. And also, again, if you tag it up correctly, you're going to get found by lots of potential clients who are searching for information using those search terms. So it's also got a new business benefit as well. The last icon is the updates. So all I mean by updates are your firm or chamber's usual e-marketing channels. So it might be a newsletter, it might be e-updates, legal updates, breakfast briefings after the Chancellor's budget's been announced, all of those kind of things. Just make sure you're contributing, because again, it's just putting your name out in front of the many, many people who have signed up to receive your updates. So that's internal. What do I mean by external? Well, quite simply, this is the local press, the trade press, maybe newsletters put together by trade associations that serve your particular markets. It's basically anything that you're not publishing. So how do you get those editorial opportunities within external publications? Well, the first thing is really, you've got to know where you want to be published. And that means having a quick search on Google using the key search terms relevant to your markets, to your client base, to the people that you want to influence. And believe me, there are publications and websites for every single niche, however small that niche is. And in the old days, we often joke with clients, we used to have to walk down to the London Business Library and copy these things out by hand. Google will do it in less than a second. Once you've found a publication that looks interesting, you've got to identify the right contact, and that isn't the advertising department, it's not the commercial department, it's not the sales department, because they're just going to give you a proposal with a figure at the end of it. Try and find the editor, and if you can't find the editor, use the search function on the website. All of their names, contact names, email addresses, etc., will all be on there. And if you can't find the email address and the name actually on the website, which happens very infrequently, but if you fall into that trap, just Google it or put it through LinkedIn. So once you've identified the right person, how do you build up that relationship? Well, again, really simple 3-step model. Send them an email, tell them what you want to write about, why you want to write about it, and how it will benefit their readers. And if you don't get an instant response from that, just be prepared to send it maybe a week or 10 days later with a nice gentle reminder. Hopefully you saw this, still keen to write the article, etc., etc. If that second reminder doesn't work, pick the phone up and give them a call. They might have missed it because there are so many emails and pieces of paper floating around if you're an editor. Just give them another little reminder, give them a phone call. The third stage in the build a relationship process is often they'll ask you to write a treatment, and that's basically just publishing speak for, just give me a little summary, a little bit more than you put in the original email. Let me see what the article's going to look like. So basically now you've got your idea, you've distilled it into 2 sentences, whether that's for your initial email approach or whether that's for the treatment that the editor's asked you for. The next part is absolutely essential again. Collaborate with your editor. Once you've got the bare bones of your article, of your column, whatever it might be, ask them for their opinion. Which bits have I missed? Which bits are completely unnecessary? How can I shorten it? Is there anything else that I should be putting in for your readers? Up till a couple of years ago, when I started really writing very regularly for the trade press, I used to think that I'd hit the nail on the head in the first instance, always got it right, couldn't be improved. How wrong I was. The editors absolutely understand their subject matter inside out. More importantly, they understand their readers inside out. So ask for their opinion, accept their suggestions, and I will guarantee you will get a much better article at the end of the process. And the last 2 lines absolutely crucial. This is the golden rule. Never write anything until you've been formally commissioned. Once you have the word count and the deadline, and you've got your idea agreed and you've taken on your editor's suggestions, that's when you start writing. It takes a long time to write an article, so please don't write one on spec. Make sure that you've been through the various steps that we've just discussed there. And that's about it for this webinar, I think. Of course, as always, if you've got any questions about anything we've covered, and I know we've been through a lot in a pretty short space of time, or really, if you've got any questions about anything else related to marketing or business development, just email me at douglas@10.5.co.uk and I will be more than happy to help however I can. So until next time, this is me, Doug McPherson at Size 10.5 Boots, wishing you a very happy afternoon.